What's going on, guys? Patrick with Uncle Bill's Camping, and today we're going to be talking about this ambitious little flashlight right here. This is the Supfire M20. Now, if this is something you're interested in, stick around for a few minutes and I'll tell you all about it. Okay, so full disclosure, a website called flashlightbrand.com reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to review one of their flashlights in exchange for a free flashlight. And I said, of course. So they gave me a list of flashlights I could choose from, and knowing absolutely nothing about them, I chose this, the Supfire M20. And as I understand it from the flashlight subreddit, I chose poorly, but we're going to review it nonetheless. So Supfire apparently makes this flashlight, and it also happens to be a clone. I'm not going to say a clone. I'm going to say it is very similar to another brand called the Nightcore Concept 2. Looks a whole lot like it. A whole lot like it. There are some differences from what I can tell. I do believe that the Nightcore has a proprietary charger or uses micro USB versus this one that happens to use USB-C. So let's see if you can see that there. Yep. So USB-C, and it can be used as a power bank, which I have not tested. And the other difference that I noticed between the Nightcore and this is on the back, there is an attachment point for a lanyard on the Nightcore versus with this, you just have this clip. Now there are a couple of Allen keys or hex heads up there. Looks like you could remove it and maybe attach something else to it. Not sure what. This does strike me as a type of flashlight that might be better suited on the front of a bicycle or something. Would probably be very good for that. As far as what you get inside the box, for me, I got the flashlight. I got a USB-C cable and some instructions in German, which made things very interesting. So, like I said, as I understand it, it is not the greatest brand in the world as far as performance flashlights go, and I know nothing about flashlights. The last time I invested any kind of real money in a flashlight was years ago, and that was a Maglite. So that tells you how far back I go. Most of the things I tend to stick to are things like headlamps, stuff that's really more camping gear like. So this is all new to me. Now it does have 6 settings. You have low, medium, high, really high, or ultra, or turbo, whatever you want to call it. You also have a strobe feature and an SOS feature. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a little beam shot here. I'm not shining this directly into my camera because that thing is expensive and I'm not messing it up. Anyway, here we go. Get a little focus action going there. Got low, a little high, actually medium, my bad. Got, ooh, that's really high. Yeah, super duper bright there. Wow, it's dusty in here. Strobe. Oh, that's got to go. All right, then we got our SOS. And we'll turn that off. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, that's bright. That should be a warning label on that thing. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do right now is just demonstrate how bright this flashlight is. So we're in the garage right now. I have all the lights turned off except for the flashlight itself. So you should be seeing no other light except for that. My camera is set to manual, so it's not going to try and auto adjust the lighting to make the picture any better. So what you see is what you get. So right now it is on the low setting, which is pretty bright, I'll admit. And medium, of course, is even brighter. And then we have high. That's pretty bright. Now, something about this flashlight that I noticed is whenever it's in, I guess, it's ultra bright, turbo, or its highest setting, it has a runtime for about a minute before it gets very hot and the safety feature turns the flashlight off. I'm not too sure or too confident in how well that'll continue to work. Um, as I understand it, these flashlights here, somebody said it's basically an entry level flashlight. They're not that great. So, you know, nobody really tended to disagree with them in the flashlight subreddit, which tends to be one of the best places to look for information, at least in my opinion. And if you want information about any particular subject, if you go to a subreddit, you're going to get honest opinions. So, but with that being said, I'll go ahead and turn it on its highest setting. And I'm only going to run it there for a while because, like I said, it gets very high. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now with a double click. And instantly, besides the light itself generating quite a bit of heat, you can also feel the heat just radiating down the side. It's starting to get very warm right now. It doesn't get so hot that you can't physically hold on to it, but it is pretty uncomfortable to hold on to. With another double click, you get a strobing effect. Sorry about that. Second double click, you get SOS. And then you go back to regular light. And then obviously back to the low setting. And even back on the low setting, I can feel that heat. It's almost like it's just a chain reaction inside of the flashlight to where it's generating heat. I wouldn't be surprised if it kicks off sometime in this conversation. As far as run times, we'll go ahead and get into that right now and get it out of the way. All right, so while we're doing the test on low, we'll just go over some specs real quick. First of all, the torch is made of T6 aircraft aluminum with an IP44 waterproof rating. It also has 4 P50 wicks at 18 watts per wick and a max brightness of 6,000 lumens with a beam length of 362 meters. It also has 4 18650 batteries with Type-C charging and can be used as a USB power supply. Now this should wrap up the low test at just around 10 hours. And here we are going on to the medium test, which is a little bit surprising because there's a serious contrast between the low and medium, where medium is coming in at just about 5 hours. Now here we are on the high test, and we're going to get about 9.5 hours out of this. The different lighting you're seeing there is actually due to people coming and going from the garage door. It's just being opened and closed, so it has nothing to do with the light itself, just in case you were wondering. The one thing I did notice is on the high test, you actually see the light begin to dim for about an hour or so before it finally goes out. I ran each one of those tests twice and got the same results, and they were all within minutes of each other. So I really cannot explain why on medium it's only getting that 5 hours and some change. Maybe one of you guys can figure it out or know what it's about. You can leave it in the comment section below. I am just not knowledgeable enough to be able to figure that out. Now, as far as the build quality of this, it seems okay enough. It's very, very dense. I would suspect, though, because of how dense it is, it's probably just all battery and a board and a switch and some lights. If you did drop this, I, I could only assume that you're probably going to knock some solder inside loose if it gets dropped enough times. But as far as external damage to it, you're going to be hard pressed to do anything to it unless you hit the lens cover up here at the front. And while we're speaking about that, the lens cover does seem to be plastic instead of glass. I don't know if that means anything or not. I am surprised that it's not glass, to be honest. As especially with all the heat that is generated by the light that comes out of this on high mode, let alone on its most brightest mode, where it's generating just immense heat from the light itself, and then the actual heat that's just coursing through the flashlight, so much so you almost can't hold on to it. It gets very, very hot, kind of scary actually. But with all that being said, I can't say anything terribly negative about the flashlight. 35 bucks compared to the light it looks very similar to, being what is it, around $100, or at least that's what it was last time I checked. So it may not be for the guy who collects flashlights, that because nobody has just one apparently, but may not be for the guy that collects flashlights, because they may not like this brand. But if you're going to get this for somebody, definitely an adult, that maybe doesn't have a flashlight or anything really bright, it's probably be a neat gift to give them. They would probably really appreciate it. With all that being said, though, I'm Patrick with Uncle Bill's Camping. Thanks for coming by and check out my video. I hope you guys like it. Leave me a comment, hit the like button if you feel like it, subscribe, and I will see you fine people the next time around. Oh, right there. Focus on my finger.